All right, let me just. I need to always check that everything's working every time I do this. I don't know if it is. I think it is. Yes. Yes, we're going. All right. Let me just get myself a little bit organized here because I don't ever quite know what's going on when I stream. Okay, so I got the chat here. Make sure that I can see if anyone is chatting. Good. And then here we go. Yes. Okay. I think I'm set up. All right. Welcome back to the most inconsistent live stream on the platform of YouTube. I was just checking before because it felt like it had been a while since I've done this. And I was right. It's been 3 months since I streamed last. It's like a quarter of a year. It went very quickly. But what we're going to be working on today is some more stuff for my next game, formerly known as Rogue Match, but now neither of those words are in the title. It is now called Fragment Collapse. We'll get into that a little bit. You can also see that a lot of work has been done to change how it looks. And actually, I need to probably put myself... look, it doesn't really matter. I'm blocking stuff a little bit, but I can just do this. Oh, not that. Nearly lost it. All right. And in fact, I find it, like, when I'm developing, it's kind of helpful to be in windowed mode anyway. Oh, is this gonna... Okay. I'll get it. Because then you can still see, like, the logs and stuff. I'll just make it, like, I don't know, that big. That'll do. And you can still see the score and stuff. But I'm going to have to think about that because, like, if streamers play the game, which is a big if, don't get me wrong, if they do, there needs to be a good spot for their face to be on the screen. It's probably down here, but I should think about that, probably. Anyway, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what we'll do today. I think my approach towards working on the game recently has just been to, like, play the game a bit, see what's working, see what's not working, and fix that thing. Now, apparently, YouTube is saying there's a suggestion for what I should do for the stream. What's it saying? Oh, the bitrate is higher than the recommended. I don't know what they want me to do about that. Anyway, okay, so yeah, I think one of the big things I've got a list of stuff to work on. So we can have a look at that, but some, like, perpetual ones always are adding content, because I think Star Mining Co. suffered a little bit in that regard, not having the best content, most content. I think I sort of just got burnt out with the project by the time I got to all the content stuff, but I've realized that that's a much bigger part of what goes into making these games. So some content ideas that we can work on, which is always kind of a fun thing to do, and then there's just some other stuff. So I might just give you a bit of a rundown of the game thus far so that you know what we're working with, because it's changed a lot since the last time I showed it off. The biggest change is that it is no longer a match 3 game, and it's now what I believe is called a collapse game. And I couldn't really find many, like, things about collapse games, but I heard this referenced somewhere, and so I've sort of, like, grabbed onto that. So yeah, it's no longer like a swipe to move pieces around. It's now like you choose a clump of colors and you click on that and it matches that clump. So here we've got this clump of oranges here, and when I click it, it matches that clump of oranges. And one of the big reasons for doing this was that as you play the game, you're able to manipulate the pieces in your deck. So this is all the pieces we've got. And as you can see, most of them are like grayed out because they've actually been used in the grid. I need to work on this as well. As you can see, this bit of UI here is absolutely terrible. So that all needs work. A lot of this still needs some work. But yeah, one of the things, you can manipulate your pieces so that eventually you'd end up with like a deck full of, say, green pieces. And in a traditional match 3 game, any like line of 3 pieces would automatically disappear. So you could get into this state of like you start the game and then all your pieces get matched and you can't make any moves, and that's just not fun. So instead, what it is this system where you have to like click on a clump to initiate the match. And so you can see here, this block of blues here would never be able to exist in a normal match 3 game because there's 4 of them in a row. So it would have matched. Whereas with this collapse style game, that's allowed to exist. So I can do that, and that's good. And then, so yeah, that's probably like the biggest change from previously, and that sort of necessitated the name change as well, because obviously Rogue Match doesn't work if it's not a match 3 game. And obviously as well, the UI has changed a lot since the last game, since the last time I showed it off as well. So we've now got this cool like retro computer vibe, and you now, yeah, I'll get this one here. So we get these little cartridges that you can plug into these different slots, and the way they work, actually, I'll buy an obstacle as well because they're kind of fun. And I've hacked in a bunch of money for myself so I can just test things out. But yeah, so these slots are unlocked, and so you can like move a cartridge into these slots as you want. And you'll notice this one here is a high voltage slot. And so there are certain cartridges that can only go into a high voltage slot. But if we click go here, I'll have to place this obstacle. So you can see here, it's called clear register, and it clears the row after 8 adjacent matches. Again, some of this UI, bit iffy and needs work, but I'll just whack it down right in the middle. And so this one here, this cartridge is called the score boost, and we get +0 score. But it increases by 4 each time it's activated, and it's in the number 2 slot, so we trigger the inserted cartridge when matching a group with 2 or more pieces. So on that note, let's do this one. So this is a 5 length match, and if we do this, you can see it activates, and so now it's +4. I also got achievements. It was something I've been working on in the background as well, so every time I boot up the game, the achievements go off, so just ignore them. But yeah, so this now has +4 score because we activated it, and when we did, it got a boost in score, and so each time we get over 2 matches, that will also then be applied to our score over here. So I'll do this one here as well so we can see this go up. So this one here now has 1 out of 8 adjacent matches, so if we keep matching next to it, it will go up and then eventually clear the row, but I think we'll probably beat the level before we get there. And so if we keep an eye here, this one now is giving +16 to our score. So that's pretty good as well. And so it's like very inspired by Balatro. I'm not going to beat around the bush there. It is definitely heavily inspired by Balatro. Now let me just keep track of... Sorry. I think I need to make it so that my alt-tabbing happens on the other screen somehow. I need to change what my main monitor is, but I just want to keep track of how the stream is going, because sometimes the internet in Australia is a bit dodgy. So you just need to keep an eye on that. Anyway, so yeah, I want to get this thing to fire off, but we're like nearly... I can probably just do single matches. And so that is a thing, by the way. You can do a single match, which can help you like manipulate your pieces into positions that are good, but it does eat into your moves to do that. So you just got to be mindful of that. Okay, so this is now at 7 out of 8 matches. So the next time we match next to it, it will fire off. So we can see that in action. And then it matches the whole row as well. And so there are different obstacles that we can put in that help us get to that score goal. So the way I see it is like these cartridges are kind of like the jokers in Balatro, and then obstacles, they're kind of jokers as well, but they take up a spot in the grid. And I think in the last stream we did 3 months ago, I added these packs in so you can, you know, add things. So like we can add this plus enhancement to the piece, choose that, and boom, put that on, and now we've got a piece with this permanent enhancement. Don't know what's going on with the UI there either. That is a bug that I will need to look into. We've got like modify packs as well. So this is where I was saying before, we can end up like turning a whole bunch of pieces blue, and now we've got, if you can read that, we've got 35 blue pieces, whereas we don't have over 30 on any other PC now. So we've got more blue pieces than anywhere else. So let me just add a few more cartridges and we can see what's going on here. So this one here gives me +2 combo, which is basically like Molt from Balatro, whenever a green piece is matched. So we can just quickly see that in action here. So we can see that going up by 2 each time. I need to add more like feedback. I think that things are being added. So like you'll see occasionally I have these pop-ups with information, like little text pop-ups, but I need to add more, I think. But yeah. So I think what we might do in this stream is if I just get up my list of ideas again. Where is it? Yeah. Yeah, so we might add some more of these cartridges in. Some of these are remnants of when I was still doing the match 3 game, and there were like enhancements that get added, and so some of these probably don't work, and I need to cull some of them off the list. But yeah, we might look at adding some of these in. So I think one of them that's good. Yeah, I might do this one here because that's kind of a fun one. So what can happen is we just go, oh yeah, there's bosses as well. I think that was in last time as well. So now this cartridge won't trigger. Yes, I want to make some long matches so that I can show you. And in fact, to do that better, I'm just going to sell all of them because I want to use up a whole bunch of pieces and not beat the level. So we'll do this. Yeah, okay, so there's a finite number of pieces that you've got, and so now all of them have been brought out into the grid, and so there's no more to take the place. And so what this cartridge would do is that if it's activated, any of the pieces that I've just matched in the group that I've matched, they'll get re-added to the draw pile and they'll be able to refill the grid, which is very helpful for like later on in the game. So I think we can do that. It should be relatively straightforward. I'll just pop this off screen because you don't really need to see that. So, actually, is that too zoomed in? Yes, I think so. Let me just zoom you out a bit there. Maybe that's a bit better. Okay, so what we need to do is add a new cartridge. And the way I've got this set up is that all of the like content in the game is in a separate part from the actual bit that runs it, and it's all in Groovy scripts and JSON files, which means that people will be able to add their own stuff to the game when it's eventually out. And on that note, I'm gonna work on getting the Steam page up for it and then get a playtest out so that we can get you guys playing the game and give some feedback and hopefully enjoy it. We'll see. But to do that, I need to make a trailer, or at least that's the advice. So it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation making a game for Steam, because you got to like put a Steam page out to be able to playtest, but then you want the Steam page to do well in a marketing sense, so you kind of already need to know what people want and like have feedback from people to make the Steam page good enough. And so it's like this cycle catch-22, the way you just can't make the Steam page. But yeah, I'm gonna throw together some sort of trailer and get the Steam page up. And you also got to take so many screenshots. So yeah, I'll do that at some point, and then hopefully we can get some playtesting going. And this is always the hardest bit, is coming up with a name for these things. Returns things to the draw pile. I mean, all of these names can be changed in the future, of course. I have no idea. I'm just going to call it redraw for the moment. And that will be good enough. And so the other part of all this is I'm trying to be better than last time, and I've now got like translation files for everything. So let me come down to where I have my cartridges, which is here. And so we can do, oh, I'm not typing well, redraw. Jeez, that's terrible. Anyway, redraw for the moment will just equal redraw, and then the description will be returns. Sorry, I've moved my keyboard forward to be able to fit the microphone on the desk, and so it's throwing me off completely. Returns the match group to the draw pile. Again, these things we will work on and we rework in the future. But so this extends a cartridge. We create the constructor. And this is redraw. So internally, all of these things use this, like, essentially what's an ID. And then whenever that value is displayed, it uses the value here in this translation file. And so then there is one, like, you can have a different translation file for different languages, is basically the way that works. But then internally, everything's just referred to under this little ID. Now, I mentioned before, I always forget when I'm streaming that I shouldn't close the game, because I always want to, like, show something, and I got to reopen the game every time. But if I can continue. So there are these high voltage slots, and you can buy an upgrade for the ones that aren't high voltage to make them high voltage, but you can make it so that certain cartridges require a high voltage slot. So it's basically like gating you from getting overpowered items in, like, these really easy to trigger slots. And so I think this one is pretty OP. So I'm going to make it high voltage, so it has to be in one of these high voltage slots. Cost. This is something that I'll have to balance later. I mean, I always just make it up for the moment. Texture name, we will... we'll have to make a little texture. So core cartridges, and this will be called redraw. Again, this is just like some internal tooling. So this is basically just like the file that it's under. So it's under the mods. It's in the core mod in the cartridges folder, and it will be called redraw.png. So just do that. And then sound name, we don't need to worry about that for the moment. I haven't really sorted out all the sound for cartridges yet, so that's something else on the to-do list. There's so much that goes into making a game. It's a bit ridiculous. Okay, so what we want is, we just want the on trigger. And this is always going to return true, because we're always going to do this when we're in here. So when the cartridge gets triggered, basically we want to do params.deck.recycle piece. Yes, okay, cool. So params.matchedpieces.for each. I don't think I've done a for each in Groovy before. I'm going to do it a different way, because the for eaches kind of freak me out. I like a good old fashioned. Oh, I could do it. I could do one of these ones. Import that. So then for each piece, we just want to recycle it so that it goes back into the draw pile. And I think that's kind of it for how this works. So you can see it's kind of quick to make content for this, but I think you just need lots and lots of content, and it's more the ideas for the content than the content itself. Or like what am I trying to say? The idea of the content is harder to come up with than implementing the content. I think that's what I'm trying to say. So yes, that is good. So let's quickly knock out a little... oh yeah, this is like the title art, by the way. Oh, actually, you would have seen that in the game. Anyway, let's knock out a quick little cartridge thingo. So textures, where am I? No. I want to be in mods, core. cartridges. So this is something else I've been wondering about. Is I'm not going to be able to beat this level now with no cartridges, I don't think, unless I get very lucky. Well, I mean, there's no more luck involved. It's pure, like, all the pieces are out there. Yeah, we're not going to get there. Alright. New game. We're just going to be short. Yeah. And actually, this is something else I can do now. I just implemented this. We can do game speed. There we go. Cool. So, yeah, so you can see, like, these cartridges, they have this little sticker on them. But I've been wondering about making it so that the cartridge art is the entire cartridge, because then you can get, like, different colored cartridges, or, like, you know, you got more scope for making things fun. But yeah, for the moment, it's just these labels. So let me just open up one of these. Doesn't really matter which one. And we will save it as a new copy and call it redraw. And I think the thing that would make sense on this is like the recycling logo. I think. Recycling logo. All right. Yes. Cool. Let me just copy that. Paste it in there. And we can use that as a bit of a reference. Looks a bit janky. Yeah, definitely going to have to tweak it a little bit, but it's a good starting point. Good starting point. In fact, can I... Actually, the shapes that come in paint.net are a bit janky, but if I do a... Oh, I want to be drawing on this one. Because, like, it's very uneven. No, I will do it myself. So, 24 pixels, and we want to object. We want to align it horizontally. Okay, and then at a 60-degree angle, do something like that. Why does that? Oh, because I didn't start on the right pixel. Okay. I'm gonna switch these around. Okay. Is that even sometimes in paint.net, like you'll do a line on a given angle in one direction, and then you do it the same angle in the other direction, and you end up with different spacings of pixels, which annoys me. But it is what it is. Okay, and then so to go tangential to 60 degrees, so 60 plus 90, 150. So we start from here. Oh, and I'm on the wrong layer again. 150. So it should be like that. And where do we want to start it? Maybe like here. So, and this will be on a 60-degree angle. Pixel art with like groups of 3 are really hard. I was trying last night. There's an obstacle called, well, it's like a virus, and I couldn't quite decide what to go for here. So I've got this skull and crossbones one or this virus one, but I was trying to do like the biohazard. Yeah, I'll pull up. Trying to do this like biohazard symbol in pixel art, and it's just like it was impossible to figure out how to make it look good. I'm sure someone's done it, but that someone is not me. And I think this needs something like that. How long? I make this so it's not even. This needs to be one more. And then on a 60-degree. Is that in line? Yes, but it's... See, this is what I was talking about. The pixels are out of whack. I'm just going to do it manually to match the other side. So it's 2, 2, 1, 2, 2. So I just want to like line these all up so I've got a bit of a reference point. 2, 2. Okay. Oop. There we go. Okay. Let's do another one. So 30 degrees. Does that make sense? I mean, it looks right. Question is where? Where do you begin? How? 1, 2. I should have made that initial triangle a different color so that it stands out. Yeah, why don't I do that? Just so I've got my bearings a bit better. Okay, so that is like... How far? 8 pixels. We're putting about here, but that seems wrong. I'm gonna go from here. This is riveting stuff, but this is the reality of game development, isn't it? How far is that? 8 pixels. What angle does this need to be at? 0 minus 60. Guess it would be minus 30. Yeah. Would be halfway. 8 pixels long. About there. And then tangential to 30 would be 60. Yeah. And that is also 8 pixels. How far is that? 7 pixels. I guess there, and then this is looking whack. I'm not gonna lie. Looking a little whack. So then this has got to come at... Oh, that's flat. That's good. We like that. And how far is that meant to be? 12 pixels. Okay. Look, we're getting there. We're getting there. I mean, that looks completely wrong, but we're getting somewhere. This also isn't actually that important, which makes it even more fun. Something like that. Look, honestly, that's all. I think that's good enough. I'm just going to copy that, new layer, and flip. Wrong flip. Flip that way. Okay, and then we can just put the little arrows on it. The top one seems like smaller than the bottom one somehow, but that's all good. So, let's just do like the most basic arrow we can do. And we can... Oh, I'm drawing on the completely wrong layer. Could also merge that. Okay, so not there. A bit of that, bit of that, bit of that, and a bit of that, and then we can extend it to like there. Gonna be much harder on these angled ones to get this right. Or is it? Maybe something like that. I mean, it doesn't quite look right. I think it needs to be like, this needs to be slightly angled. I think this does too. Maybe something akin to that. Gee, it's a bit how you going. That didn't help. No. It's all trial and error. All of this. We'll keep it as that for the moment. Just get something rough in. Like, it's so close to being able to be aligned to the pixel grid that it, like, you almost just want to do it. Like, does that look that bad? Look, let's just keep it for the moment. And I will select all of these blue ones and get rid of them. And we'll just call that good enough for the moment. And then we can try it out. So, actually, the thing that would make it look better would be to put a bit of this in there. You know, do one of those ones. Although that is not the right angulation. To whack it in. Good. That where it's meant to be, yes. And here. Looks a bit shoddy, but we're gonna ship it for the moment. Well, not ship it, but you know, use it for the moment. So let us try that out now. So what we've got to do is, so I've written the script for that, but I need to actually put it into the game. So down here in the cartridges, we just add redraw.groovy. And this is like the mod info JSON, where you basically just like describe everything that you want in there. You can put in your maps and your different decks and stuff. That's good. All right, so now if we run this, we've got $1,000 to re-roll in the shop until we find it. So we will just go. And we've got to beat the first level to get into the shop. So we can do it in one more. All right. So it is not there. So we will re-roll until we see it. There it is. Okay, so yes, high voltage. Turns the match group to the draw pile. Okay, so for the moment, the 32 slot is the only high voltage slot that we've got. So it means that we will probably want to help ourselves, but also we will want to, if we can, find a... Did I make them all green? Yes. So let's delete some non-greens. So you can get shop items that will... Oh no, this is another cartridge that goes up for each high voltage slot you've got. You can get shop items that will make some of these lower grade slots high voltage, which will help our testing. I mean, I could just hack it in there, which would probably be the Smart thing to do. I reckon I back us to get a 32 match. So we did a bit of deck fixing to get stacked in greens. And we've got no other cartridges to help us, which means we can sort of like stockpile them all down the bottom without accidentally beating the game. So let us do that. 25. Oh, actually, do we even have... I only recently... It used to be that your deck had 60 of each, and it was too many. But I think 30 might be a little light on, because we basically need to match like every green on the grid. Okay, here we go. So, oh, but the problem is this is going to automatically win, and then we won't be able to see them redraw. At least we triggered it. That's good. Oh, they did come back in. So you can, yeah. So this is kind of an OP cartridge, to be honest with you. Oh, we got some synergy going with the greens. Oh, here we go. So let us make the 8 slot high voltage now. And I can't unlock it yet. How much does it cost? 15. Alright, so we'll play one more. This is what I was saying before about the achievements always popping up. Just ignore them. They're basically just tests at the moment. Okay. How many? 27. Bugger. Ooh. 30. I match that. And then go up to 31, and I think we'll beat it. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. Yeah. What was I gonna do? Unlock that. Still don't have enough. I took too long to get there to get enough money to unlock it all. Oh, I didn't pay attention to this. So now, yeah, we can't start a match with blue pieces, which means I shouldn't have done that. But it just means it's much harder to organize things the way you want. There are ways, though, that you can still match the blues. But I haven't got any of them for this run. So makes it a little tricky. We should be alright, though. Alright. So we're going greens, aren't we? What am I doing? I want to unlock this slot. I'm so used to just like spamming reroll to try and unlock things. Or like find things in the shop. Okay. Now before I do anything else, unlock that. Cool. Then we can move this into a slot that'll trigger more easily. So we should see all of these go back into the draw pile. So we should have, yeah, we got a bunch of pinks all in that draw pile. But it should only happen if you have more than 8 in the match. Cool, so I think that works. That was easy. We might have to look at doing something else then as well. So let me pull up my list again. So we've done this one. I mean, all of these things will need like tweaking and balancing and stuff. I think this one is a relic of the match 3 days. Match group immediately match spawned piece. Yeah, because we don't do any piece spawning anymore. Don't know what these names were that I was coming up with. Also, rotating isn't a thing anymore. Because like in the previous one, you could have different rotations for enhancements on pieces, but that's not really a thing. This one is a good one, I think. Although I don't know if it should be. I wonder if this should be a an obstacle similar to the. We could do this actually. Similar to the. Let's see if we get it. Yeah, this one. So this one, as we saw earlier, charges up. No, we can't match green pieces. That's catastrophic. So yeah, it charges up, and then after 8 adjacent matches... Now they're all green. Okay, after 8 adjacent matches, it does a thing. So what we could do is have a similar thing where it charges up, and then it like will reshuffle the board, essentially. So all the pieces will move to a new spot. I think that could be a fun one, to be honest, because it also gives you a bit of a get out of jail free card if you're in a spot that's a bit shit. Because one thing I was thinking is that often these games are on like a hex grid, and so pieces can like slide sideways, whereas this is on a square grid, so things just go straight up and down. So I wonder if... Oh, there is actually... Here, let me just do a bit of manipulation of the grid here. I need to remember though what the obstacle that I want is called. Bit shifter is what I want. So we've got... I think that'll be what it is. Oh, I'll just make sure it is what it is. So this one's a bit of a fun one that adds a bit of movement into the grid. That I think something like this is good in that it... So yeah, this one here. So after each move, bit shifter rotates the surrounding pieces after each move. So if I like do this... Oh, hang on, let me turn the game speed down again. If I do some matches over here or whatever, it'll do a little spinny on the pieces around it. So it kind of like... It can be really annoying in that like you'll be eyeing off some match and then it'll break the match. Hey Kyle, how you going? Yeah, no, this is completely different from from super glue molds. But yeah, like this obstacle can be a pain in the ass, but it can also be really good because it can move things laterally. So, because as I was saying, having a square grid just means that all the pieces are going straight up and down, whereas if you're on a hex grid, things can slide left and right. So I think I need more things in here that can manipulate the grid, essentially. So I'll need to do some brainstorming on that and see how things are going. Yeah, sorry, Banzo membership is... I mean, that's the way YouTube works, unfortunately, is it's linked to a channel, not to a person. And I don't think doing this stuff on the Banzo channel would... like, they're pretty separate things. But yeah, thanks for popping in. It's very kind of you to check this out. Hope you're, I don't know, enjoying it. I feel like streaming this sort of stuff, it's hard to know, like, on one level, I want to be able to just like lock into doing some work on the game, and on the other level, I'm streaming it, so I need to try and be entertaining. And they're kind of like competing interests, so hopefully you're finding it interesting at the very least. Who knows? But yeah, I think some more obstacles or some other mechanics that help like shift things around are good. So I think adding... What we should work on next is adding this obstacle. I don't think I'm going to call it scrambled eggs. I think a lot of these names I came up with when it was still like a vague, abstract game and not this like computer game anymore. So I've tried shifting things over to be more computery terminology and like, you know, cartridges and bit shifter and stuff like that. But yeah, I think some of these old names when it was still just the abstract rogue match thing. So where is it? Here. Scrambled eggs doesn't really fit the theme. So I'm going to have to come up with new names for everything, pretty much. But yeah, so if you see anything incongruous, do let me know, and I will try and remember to fix it up. I'll make a note of it somehow. But yeah, let's work on a new obstacle, not called scrambled eggs, but that does reshuffle everything on the board. This one should be a bit more involved than the last one because I already had this recycle piece system in place, but I will have to, in the grid, add in something to shuffle all the pieces. So this could be a bit more involved than the previous one. So let me just make the obstacle, and then we can figure out how to do the actual reshuffling. So I can only think of scrambled eggs now when I'm trying to come up with a name for this thing. Look, I'll just call it Shuffler for the moment, and we'll move on. So the Shuffler is obstacle. So we create the obstacle thingo, and okay, and so it is called Shuffler. Shuffler description. Yo, Kyle, mate, you are far too kind. You're way too kind. You're already a member on Barnzo. You don't need to donate, mate. I really appreciate it, but thank you. That's incredibly generous of you. I don't know what to say. Thank you. I feel bad that you're a member on the other channel and you're donating here as well. Thank you. All right. Level, obstacle level. What does, I think this is, I think the level influences as well how, like how often it comes up in the shop. Obstacle shop item. Oh, yes. Yes. So, I mean, this should probably be a rarer item. I don't know. Level 2. All of these like little numbers need tweaking and everything, so I'll come back to do a balancing pass at some point. So, core obstacles, and this will be called Shuffler. So now we get to endure some terrible pixel art again. Only this is not a cartridge. It will be a... Where is it? Where is it? Obstacle. So, I don't know. I need to... Mixer. Yeah, that's a good one. Scrambled eggs is definitely not it. Regardless of what happens, it's not going to be called that. But mixer could be good. I think there's probably like... There'll be some computery adjacent term that will fit, I reckon. Like even something to do with like encryption or something like that, you know, where it's like scrambling the drive or like, I don't know. There'll be something like that. Cipher. I don't know. Something like that. But for the moment we'll just stick with with Shuffler. And we'll see what happens. Now, this is something that I was going to think about. I need to think about this. So as you can see here, that clear register one, the one that lights up piece by piece, like it's cool to have that visually there. But the way, there's this type matcher one as well. I'll show you that quickly. I'll put it in. Yeah, I'll put them both in. So we've got the clear register. And we've also got the type matcher. And I'll show you what that does. So, because they're kind of like two different ways of doing the same thing, kind of. If we start a new game. So this one, it lights up in the actual sprite each time you match next to it. This one here, you've got to match entirely around. I'll see if I can set this up to do it. And actually, let me just put the game speed up a little bit again, because otherwise animations take a long time. So I think we should be able to do it here if we go like this. So when we match this orange, you can see that it'll hit all four adjacent ones to this obstacle here. The description here is quite long. Oh, this is another thing that's so hard to figure out, is like descriptions on these cartridges and obstacles and stuff. It's like you got to express quite a lot of information, but very succinctly and as easily as possible. It's a challenge. But anyway, this one will match on all 4 sides. So just watch it. Actually, I can put it down to half speed. So watch it while it does this. So you see it pops up with the little 2 out of 4, now 3 out of 4, and then when it hits 4 out of 4, boom, does all that. So the sprite itself doesn't change at all. Yeah, the sprite itself doesn't change at all, but the text pops up to let you know what's going on. And in the hover information, oh, actually not on this one, but in this one, like in the hover information, it'll be there and tell you how many it is if you need to see it without having seen the text pop up. If that makes sense. Jeez, half speed is like way too slow. Because yeah, the text popping up means that it saves a lot of work not having to animate these sprite. And like obviously this one is really simple in that it's just like I fill in a colored little blob on the thing. But it does add up having to make like 9 sprites for this one obstacle versus being able to just tell it to pop up text on the screen. So yeah, even though, so this one will also do, I think, charging up, but I might do it this method where we do the pop-up on the screen rather than having a different sprite for each one. That was a very long-winded way of going all about that, and to say that I'm just going to make a single sprite at the moment. So, I'll start with copying this one, and we'll save this and call it the Shuffler. And again, all of this artwork needs, well, work. And to put on, no, don't want to do that. Let me just clean slate it and make a little design on this. Maybe I could even do a little card or something as an homage to shuffling. Oh my god. Should use the tools that are given to me. Let me use that. 8. Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Okay, and then yeah, let's do, what does the back of a card actually look like? That is a good question. Red back card, not spider. Yeah, like the bicycle cards are pretty classic, but maybe something like this would be a lot easier to do. So basically like a checker pattern. But it's like, oh, should just use the line tool. It's actually got a bit of a bigger border, doesn't it? Is this going to be recognizable as a card at all? Who knows? Who knows? I don't think I'll be able to get that level of detail in there. Also, this seems like it should be like that, and then something like that. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. We'll just do something like this for the moment. Look, it might not be pretty, but it'll get the job done for the moment, and that's all that really matters. Have a white internal border. Do you mean on the... Where do you mean? Sorry. Normally cards have a thin white border. I'm trying to... Oh, do you mean as in like flip these colors around, or do you mean something else? I mean, I'm not sure. I'm also not sure that it's going to stay as a card because I don't know that the name Shuffler is even going to stay. So I'm not going to get too bogged down in this, I don't think. just because, I mean, that's barely recognizable as a card as it is. I feel like though I've got too many things that are already like a circle with arrows because like the bit shifter one that does the scoopity whoopity around the outside is all already like this would also make sense for a shuffle icon, I think. What do they do on like Spotify or something? I'm guessing I think it's like 2 arrows, isn't it? Shuffle symbol. Ah, yeah, we could do that. That might look. I'll do that for the moment because I think that's more recognizable than this attempt at a card. So I might do it in a blue just to do something different. So let's see what we can. How thick? Probably not that thick. So actually, we may as well. Well, hey, what's going on there? May as well fully extend. Maybe 3 is good. Yeah. This actually needs to come one more. And then we can do the little crossover swoop. Then I'll get rid of it. Oh gosh. Alright. Might do this on a new layer. Make an X. We can... That is ill-aligned. Let me move this down. So then... here we can get rid of everything here. Get rid of everything here. I mean, theirs is curved. I don't know that I'm going to worry about that for the moment. A bit of this. And they also add these bits. Go like that. Do a bit of that. Something like that. That'll do for the moment. Art is something that I'm not very good at, and I think I'm probably too self-conscious to spend a lot of time doing it on stream because I don't know what I'm doing. So I will move on before we get too bogged down. But eventually I will tidy all of these things up. So shuffler is good to go. So that should be a shuffler.png. Very good. And what we can actually do is we will put in the shuffler here, just so that we can immediately have it to play with. Shuffler, we also need to add the script here, so shuffler.groovy. That goes there, and then we need to actually give it some functionality. Oh, we also need to put the... Did I already do this? No, I didn't do this already. So obst shuffler equals shuffler description. Now, this is where we've got to decide how difficult it is to fire this thing off. Because, like, we could do it per match, or we could do it per move, or we could do it per round. Like, it takes 3 rounds for it to happen, or it takes 3 moves for it to happen, or, yeah, 3 matches next to it to happen. I'm inclined to do moves. Like every 5 moves, say, this thing will fire off. Although then you've got less control over when it happens. Maybe it charges over moves, but it gets triggered by matches adjacent to it. And then I got to try and fit that into a description. All right. Look, these are details that we all iron out, but redistributes the pieces in the grid after 5 moves. Let's just start with it happening after the move and after 5 moves. And in fact, this could maybe be so I've kind of got a distinction between good obstacles and bad obstacles because there's a boss that gives you bad obstacles that are things that will like hinder you. I'm thinking of changing that boss to be just gives you some random obstacles that you have to put in the grid and then you've got to work with what you've been given. But at the moment it just gives you bad ones and this could be a bad one in that it if you're like trying to like accumulate all of the blue pieces into a clump and then this thing goes off and moves all your pieces back all over the board, obviously that's going to be annoying, but if you're stuck in a bind you can use it to your advantage. So I think it'd be good to be able to have agency over when it fires. I don't know that knowing that it's going to trigger is enough, but we will figure that out as we go. Now, I will copy the clear register stuff for some of this. So the way that these scripts work is that the script is there's just one instance of the script that exists, and then there are like an obstacle instance that can have some state attached to it. So each individual obstacle has its own memory essentially, but the script that runs the functionality of that obstacle, there's only one copy of that. So we have to pass in the state in here, and so then I'll just use these to get the state properties, essentially, is what's going on here. I'm just going to copy all of these as well. I don't know if I'll need all of them. Good. Oh, yes. So we will also want to, in the description here, put in some bracketry so that we know. I did this in the clear registry one. So yeah, here tells you how many. I don't know why I did it in green. I'm not quite sure that makes sense. I'm not going to give it a color. But so %d out of 5. So that we'll be able to hover over it and know how close it is to triggering. So I will copy this as well. We don't need to copy the texture one. After move, I think is the only one that we need to worry about for the moment. So after move, what we want to do is we want to say num triggers equals get num triggers for this obstacle instance. And then we want to add 1 to that and then set num triggers to the new value. And I need to pass in the obstacle for that as well. So that takes care of after each move, we bump up the number of triggers that, like the number of times it's been on the board after a move, if that makes sense. I don't actually, maybe I should change these from num triggers to something else. But they kind of triggers at the same time. And so then we want to I think I did this cleaner in the other one I was showing you here. So yeah, so if I don't think we need this has triggered one because yeah, no, we don't need that. We don't need that. So if the num triggers equals 5, then we want to and then otherwise, yeah, okay. So if we've done 5, we want to make it say shuffle or something like that. The background will be white. The color of the text shall be blue. Again, these are little details that will need tweaking and like consolidating. No, what's the word? Making it all cohesive so that everything is consistent. That's the word. Yeah, I'll have to make sure all this stuff is consistent at the end of the day. But for the moment, I'm gonna go blue. So if we have 5 triggers, we say the little shuffle effect, we reset the number of triggers, and crucially, we're gonna have to do params dot grid dot shuffle pieces, which we will get to in a moment. The reason it's gray is because it doesn't exist yet, so we will have to get to that. I think as well, this will always return true because we're always doing something here. But what we want to do here is params.obstacle.text particle. And we do need to format the string, so we'll do the same sort of thing as we're doing here. Ooh. Don't know what combo of keys I just pressed there, but they did not do what I wanted them to do. So we want this to be %d out of 5, so we can put in the number of triggers. And that's got to be translated. I guess I put that in the core translations, because that's not... No, it kind of is a core concept to the game once I'm done with it. Okay, I'll put it in the main translations, because I've kind of got... There's translations, like a mod can have translations in it, but then also the game has a bunch of stuff that's just there regardless of the mods that have translations as well, and that's what this one is. So I've got these 2 different translation files, one for just the core of the game, and then the other one for the mod, which confusingly the mod is called core because it's like the core components of the mod. It's silly. Now, I think, yeah, okay, so I've got a few, like, doing words up here. Verbs, I think. Shuffle will equal shuffle. That'll probably change as well. Okay, so description with the number of triggers. Yes, good. Okay, so I think what we need to do now is write this shuffle pieces. And I don't quite know in which spot to put it within this file, which is getting rather long now. How long is this? Nearly 900 lines. Let me put it after fill grid. That seems like a good place because we're not filling the grid, but we're doing something similar to filling the grid. Now, the way that I want this to work is that I can add offsets, they're called, to the pieces so they visually, like, the animation and the data are sort of separate, but I need to keep track of what the animation is doing. So I have these offsets where like if I swap 2 pieces, say, I can swap them, and in the data they're already swapped, but then visually they've got an offset that puts them back where they were, and then they like animate towards the new location. So what I want is to be able to have all of these pieces like move. That is such a terrible description of it. But I'm going to try and write this in such a way where every piece finds a new home and can swap to it. And I think that there's a relatively easy way to do this. Public void shuffle pieces. So I think we can do this in one loop. maybe? No. Look, let me just bang something out and we'll see what happens. So what we want is we want a hash set of vectors that is like moved pieces, just so that we don't move the same piece twice. And then we want, you know what? I think we do want we want to get a random object in here so that it's consistent. And so then in here, we will have to pass in the random object that's being used for the game. And that way, the same seed will shuffle in the same way, hopefully. In theory. So then what we want to do, this is actually it. I might do this in 2 passes. So I'm gonna piece position. So what I want to do is I want to do like a 4 each. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Yawning. Yeah, so 4 each doesn't have a filter. We just get the piece and we get the position. Yeah, okay. So for each thing, we want to do piece positions dot add params dot grid pos. I think that's the correct one. With position grid pos. Yes, cool. So we're just compiling because so there are spots on the grid where there'll be an obstacle where there is no piece, and so we want to be able to exclude them. And now we know where each piece is. We can now randomly choose from that. And actually, I think if I do this as an array list, I've already got things in the random thingamabobby that can pull things out for me. Yeah, I think so. So then, what's this whinging about? Oh, we don't use it. I'm getting to that. I'm getting to that. This can be a one-liner as well, which is nice. So we get the piece positions. And then for each piece position, we want to choose a new position. So let me do... Oh! Sorry, a whole bunch of chats just came through at once. I think I've had this problem a whole bunch with YouTube live stream chats. They sometimes just like all come through at once. I don't know if that's my internet or if that's a YouTube thing. I have a feeling it's a me thing though, because surely YouTube would fix that by now. This reminds me why I stick to Arduino scripts. Yeah, I haven't really delved into the whole AI code thing, as you can probably tell from how slow I am going. But I kind of like I mean, this is very on brand if you've seen the Barnzo videos, which obviously you have, Carl. But I kind of like doing things my own slow way. It's getting there eventually. So for each piece, we need to pick a new position on the grid. So we kind of need 2 copies. No, we don't need 2 copies, do we? What we could do is we randomly choose here we go. Chats are coming through. AI coding works only for simple things. It still can't write a full Arduino script without intervention, so you need to actually understand how to code first to do it cleanly. Yeah, that's kind of what I've heard. And so I find for me that the typing code out isn't the slow bit, it's like the figuring out what's going on. and it seems as though AI is really good at like generating you a bunch of code, but then you've still got to go over it and check that it all works. So it's like, in the time it takes me to do that, I probably could have written it. I don't know. I don't know. You're seeing how slow I am at figuring this out, but this is like I don't think I've had to do anything like this before, so I don't have a reserve to pull on. But what I'm just thinking is that we could randomly pull out a position from this list of positions. Here, let me do like some whiteboard stuff. So we've got a grid. I think actually, have I now got... I just recently got a whole bunch of plugins here. Is there just like a normal grid? I don't want a gradient grid. I swear where I saw one. Tools. No, that's a grid warp. Texture. I swear. This? Oh yeah, this will do. This will do very nicely. Okay, so we don't want it to be so small though. Okay. I don't know why I'm getting so hung up on it. This is just for demonstration purposes. But I think what we can do is if we... So we've got all of these positions in a list. So if we just like randomly choose one, so this we're moving this piece, and then we randomly choose another one. So like say this one. And then we update this piece's position to be the blue position. And then this blue piece, and then we remove the blue piece from our list because we've now occupied that as a new spot. And then this blue piece becomes the current piece, and then we randomly choose another spot for it, and we change its spot to this one, and then remove this one from the list. So these two will be removed, and then this one chooses a random spot, and then we keep going like that. So this like would move here, this would move here, this would move here. I think that'll work. In my mind, it works, and there's only one way to find out if that is the reality. So we want to do for vector. Oh, let's call it pos in piece positions. Actually, this will have a hissy fit at me, I think, because I'm going to be changing the size of this list while I'm doing it. So we might have to do this way. I is less than... Actually, you know what we should do probably is like while not piece positions dot is empty. So while we've still got positions to choose from, we want as well vector start pos equals random dot random from the piece positions. Hello, Serena. Hello. I can hear you. That's very sweet. It'll help just pull libraries together or discover libraries you're not familiar with. Yeah, that could be very practical. Although, I also don't use libraries that much because I'm a glutton for punishment. I do use some. No worries, Carl. I'm glad that she enjoyed that. Okay, so we've got a start position, and then what we want to do is we want to get a next pos, which will also be a vector. So vector next pos equals the same thing, so random.random from the piece positions. Now, I haven't removed that start pos, but I think that's correct because it's, even though I'm going to change its position. So like the piece that's currently here will move to this one. So then this spot is still free. I feel like I've got too many colors going on here. So what we've got at the moment is we choose a random start spot, and then we choose the next spot. And so we will move this piece over here. And then this position in the grid will still be free. And so it's this position here that we need to remove from the grid, from the list, because that one will now be occupied by this blue piece. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. And in fact, start pos isn't even really what we want. What we want is the piece. Does that make sense? Because the other way you could do it, which probably makes more sense, is we've chosen this cell and we move the thing from here into this cell. Let me just bash something out and see what happens. So the current piece that we're moving is get piece. We're just getting a random piece. But we don't want to override. We don't want to overwrite any pieces. The problem. You know what we could do is we could just swap pieces. But then you're relying on there being an even number. Yeah, I think we kind of need to do this like chain reaction thing. Where we keep like choosing a random thing and they move in like this big rotation. I guess that we could end up in a situation where this piece then chooses the start thing and we just get a loop. So we will have to handle that as well. A little bit tricky. Because it's not just the position that we need to keep track of, it's the piece in that position that we need to keep track of. The other thing is we don't have to make it so that every piece moves. I think every piece can just pick a new random spot, and that's the end of it. And if something chooses itself, that doesn't really matter. So I think we can just do a 4, but we need to, this is what I'm saying, is we need to be able to keep track of the pieces that have been displaced. So here, let's do an array list of pieces as well. So we can just keep the pieces that we are popping out somewhere. Why don't we just do this? Because I think when we do this for each, we also get the piece, yes. So we can do add the position to the piece position and pieces.add params.piece. And then we've got both of them. And then what we can do is we can just do for piece in pieces. We go through that, and then no, again, I'm going to have to do this in a for loop. So int I equals pieces.size -1. We're going to have to go through it backwards because we're going to be removing stuff from it. So for each piece, I is greater than or equal to 0, I++. And And then we say piece equals pieces dot remove last. So we're gonna keep. Oh, I should probably just actually use the index. Yeah. Remove I. Yeah. So we get that piece out of our pieces list, and then we choose a random position, although I will have to do this pos index, because I need to remove the position that I'm putting this into from the positions array. So we'll just call this positions. This is where we use the random, so random in the positions.size -1. So 0 to that. And then we can do vector pos equals positions.remove the pos index. And then we can say set piece I want to know where this piece is originally from as well. I kind of need like 2 copies of the position array. One that keeps track of what's been removed, and one that reserves the original, like preserves, sorry, the original position information so that I can know where it's moving from or to. Okay, we're just gonna do it. So array list of vector 3 positions. I'm sure that there's a much nicer way of doing this. But I'm just gonna do a first pass and see if it even works, and then I can work on making it more efficient. So we get the and we're going to use this free positions to get the new position. And what we can do is vector old position equals positions.get I. And because we're removing from this randomly, there's no guarantee that it would have been like there would be the same number of elements in each array, but there's no guarantee that the position and the piece would still line up. So, and in fact, I don't even think I need to remove. I don't think I need to remove these pieces. I can just go through them. And I will do that because it is a bit clearer, I think, if I just do this as a normal for loop. I is less than pieces.size plus plus, and we just get the ith piece. Okay, so we've got the old pos, we've got the new pos. We set the piece, this piece, to the new pos. And then we also want to set the offset at this new pos to be, which way round will it be? The new pos minus the old pos, or the old pos minus the new pos? And in fact, I'm surprised that's a vector. Creates. Okay, cool. So new pos minus, let me draw this out. So this is where it is, or it was, and this is where it's going, and we want a vector pointing like this. So we are subtracting that. Okay, so I think it's new pos dot sub. Oh, actually, I want to do vector dot sub. No, did I not put a static on there? Did not. Okay, well, because I don't want to modify these vectors. So I will do pos dot copy dot sub old pos. No. Here, why don't I do this? Dot copy, and then I'm free to. That's what the problem is. Vector dot vector offset equals. No, that also doesn't work. Oh, I know what I need to do. I know what. Equals new pos. Jeez, I'm a bit sloppy today. Sorry. Copy. Then offset dot sub old pos, and then we pass that offset in there. Okay. All right. Well, we got. Well, we don't know if we got there yet. Let's test if this works. It's a bit of spaghetti, but we will see how it goes. And an error straight off the bat, so that's good. Oh, I think it's just because, yeah, okay, it's all good. It's because the save file was is no longer valid because it's a newer version. Okay, so, but that did not show up. Why did that not show up? Shuffler dot groovy. Did I put it in here? Thought that I did. Did I not? Obst shuffler. Something's gone deeply wrong. Did it load okay? Too many log messages. Oh, it's very, very obvious once you figure it out, isn't it? It's always the way with debugging, is it's like the stupidest little thing. It takes a disproportionate amount of time to find out what's going wrong. All right, fingers crossed again, please, Kyle. We are going in for round 2. Hopefully things go a bit better this time. It loaded with no errors. That's good. Start. Or hey, there it is. Again, don't mind the UI. Something deeply wrong is going on there. I'll put the water away now. I think I'm hydrated enough to get through this test. So, after 5 moves, we're at 0 moves. So hopefully, first thing to test is that, okay, it went up. 1, good. Let's just get through these. 2, 3, 4. Shuffle. Well, it's not, it wasn't the animation I was hoping for. I think that means that I got the vector the wrong way around. After drawing it out and everything, I still managed to get it backwards. That it always confuses me which way, like I have to think about it way too hard. So the offset should be the old pos.copy, and then we sub the new pos, I think. Oh, don't out me like this. There's definitely some edge cases with the spicy text that go a bit astray. I think what's happening here, if we're going to get into the weeds on it, is I've set it to the max width of this narrow screen bit here, and the word redistributes is too long, even by itself, to fit in. And so it does like a weird double new line. It doesn't. I need to make it break the actual word on the character as a fallback if the last space is not working as a place to break new line on. So the fix here would be to choose a different word other than redistributes. I'll say shuffles. But yeah, I think that's what's going on, is that redistributes is wider than the maximum. I did just add a thing to my private copy of spicy text that's inbuilt into this game project, is the functionality to shrink the text size if it's wrapping. So in fact, you'll sometimes see that on the score, if I get a big enough score, which is a big if, it will go a smaller text size to make sure it stays within the bounds of the screen. But let's try this shuffler again. So 1 out of 5. 2 out of 5. Oh, I don't want to beat the level, actually. We've got to play conservatively. All right, here we go. Okay, it still didn't work. That's good. I think I know. No, I don't know what it is. I was about to say that. So I think the bit shifter does some setting of offsets. And see, it is just meant to be an offset, not a grid position, but I am doing it as an offset because I'm subtracting here. You know what we're going to have to do? I hate to do it, but we're going to have to put in a breakpoint and step through the code. Oh, that's always fun, isn't it? So let us see how this goes. All right, so 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5. So yeah, I think it would be kind of good if this thing was like in an active state after 5 moves, but then there was some way of like intentionally triggering it rather than it just always going off. Okay, so let's see what is going on here. So we're starting at position 0, 0, which makes sense. And then we're choosing random spot 8, 2. And then our offset. So our offset should be, I guess, -8, -2, because so 0, 0 is down here in the grid coordinates. 8, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 0, 1, 2. So this is the new position it's going to, and this is its old position. Okay. -8, -2 kind of makes sense to me, because when we're drawing this tile, we'll be drawing it with an offset that puts it down and to the right. So it looks like it's over here, and then it'll animate this direction. So that makes sense to me. And we're putting the piece in at the new position. And then we're setting the offset. Now, are we setting it in the new position? We are. Putting in the offset. That should... There's nothing immediate that is jumping out at me as being an issue. Let me... Oh, actually, no. I'm going to set it to half... Oh, shit, I didn't mean to do that. Set it to half game speed. But I'm not going to do it until we're actually ready to go. 3, 4. Put the game speed down. I've done it again. Clearly the UI needs a bit of work if I keep doing that. So this thing should still be on 4 out of 5. So then we do one more. Shuffle. Oh, that worked. I swear that worked. Is it just if I... Did that... that worked. I swear that worked. Oh, it works now. Blue, how you going, mate? Good to see you in here as per usual. I swear, I don't know what I changed. Maybe the, did I not restart it after I made my changes before, and then I restarted it and it worked? Is that what happened? I have a feeling that might be what happened. And it was just the offsets being cattywampus. I mean, that appears to work. Oh, I did lose the level, but that's all right. Glad you caught a stream. Yeah, this is a bit more of a friendly time for people with a 9 to 5 in Australia. That's the reality of this time slot. Is the Australian worker can tune in. All right, let us go again, and I'm just going to put it on normal game speed because I guess that's what you should be testing things on to confirm how they look. I think part of the problem is the animation. By default, the animations have this like bounce thing for the pieces, but I don't know if that makes sense when I'm doing the shuffling. Seems a bit jarring, but at least they all seem to... Sorry, I didn't mean to out you as a productive member of society. Yeah, I'm not sure that bounce animation really works for the shuffle. But I don't have a good way of... Because I think when I'm displaying the grid... Draw grid... Actually, it's when I'm drawing a piece. I only do the bounce if we are doing slow animations, but as they speed up, I don't do them anymore. Stumbled on an easing functions list if you want to give it a look. Yeah, there's a really great website that I always use called easings.net. And you can tell I go there a lot because it pre-fills. But yeah, this is like the holy grail of easing functions. And so you just choose one. I think this is where I got all of them from that I've used. You have to like tweak them for whatever language you're in. But they give you the formula. So that's good. And in fact, in this, this is like, I've got like the game code is this rogue match one, and then hummus is the engine, my little like homebrewed framework that I'm using. And in here, I've got, where is it? Ease. And so yeah, all of these are ones that I've just yoinked from easings.net. Funny thing, Blue, what I'm guessing, is this the same website as you were looking at? Oh, yeah. It is easings.net. That's funny. I mean, I'm not surprised that you've heard about it because it's a bloody brilliant website. But yeah, so if you ever need anything eased. Oh, you flicked me a file as well. I'll have a look. Managed to miss that. Oh, you've already got you've got it all implemented. That's great. I mean, I've done most of them already myself as well. Thankfully, they make it nice and easy to do, and then I just use them as like a lambda, not as a lambda, but like pass the function reference around. I guess that's a lambda. That's a lambda, isn't it? Yeah, brilliant. It's so handy. So yeah, but I don't have a way of specifying. It would be kind of good when I'm setting these offsets if I could set the offset to use a specific easing function. But I'm not going to worry about that for now. That's something else. I think the fact is that this works, so that's good. I'm actually shocked that I managed to get that shuffle function to work straight away. Well, I say straight away. It took ages, but it was first try. That's kind of fun. That's kind of fun. That's a fun one. While I think of it, I'm just gonna do that quietly. No one has to know about the bug in the spicy text anymore. If you were here and you saw it, shh, don't tell anyone. I will probably fix that at some point, but there we go. See, the UI is fine. There's nothing to worry about. Nothing at all. So yeah, that was a fun one. That was a good one. Doing that little shuffle function. And now that's available on the grid, so there can be other things that do it. So like, you could probably get like an item or something, or a cartridge that'll. Oh no. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know if anyone in the Discord even uses spicy text anyway. So, I mean, I don't think anyone will actually care at all. So, but yeah, that was a fun little obstacle to do. So I've still got here. Let me cross that off the list. Actually, where did I put? Where's the list? I've got so many windows open that I always lose where I'm putting them, and I'm like dragging them around to show you guys stuff and then putting them back in where they don't belong and stuff. It's terrible. So this one is good. Oh, so I had scrambled eggs is what I had the name as for the one that I've now called the shuffler. And then the shuffler is what we kind of did in the the scrambled eggs was meant to be a cartridge, but we did it as an obstacle. I think it makes a lot more sense as an obstacle. Does it? This is the problem with having essentially what are two different types of Joker. And it's like, where do you put each one? But my general philosophy is that obstacles in some way need to use stuff in the grid. Recompile, that's actually quite a good one. I called it redraw when we did it earlier in the stream. And it was a very simple one, as you can see from the script on this one. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Recompile is good. You know, I'm gonna do it. This can be recompile. What did we do? Oh yeah, we made the recycling logo as the symbol for it, and so this is recompile. Now, usually I wouldn't change the ID, but because it's so new. Like, I would just change the translation. I'll put you in the credits, Kyle. That's huge. No, I do actually really appreciate it. Naming things is like the hardest thing to do. Oh, banged my elbow on the desk. Recompile is a good one, and I think that the shuffler one I will probably rename to be something cryptographically related. Why is my camera focusing on the background? I'm the star. That's good. Okay. Yeah, I think I'll probably rename it to not be Shuffler, but for the moment, Shuffler does the trick. Now, I was gonna beat this level. I think I will probably finish up the stream pretty soon, but what I might do is I might just play a game and then just see what the RSA encrypt. That's good. Well, I've got one that's called, here you can see, RMF, and in the translation it is actually formatted properly, and as you can see, it permanently removes a piece. So I'm not against doing some nerdy shit in the titles, although I'm not convinced that this will stay because it's kind of obscure. For, like, if you're a gamer that's never touched a command line or Linux or something, then you'll have no idea what's going on there. Now, did I restart? I didn't. I'm going to restart with a clean grid, and I'm just going to play around because I feel like this is the best way of figuring out all the shit that you need to fix. So we click play. We'll just do default for the moment. Although, actually, what have I gotten? What's this one? Oh, it's just got a bunch of random stuff in it. Yeah, okay. That's kind of... We'll just play the default, and we'll just have a little play, and we'll see what's busted and what's working. And I feel like that's the best way to figure out what to work on next time. So once... Okay, this will be big enough, but I like the little lightning effects that I get. Ready for it? Ready? That was a fun day implementing them. That was good. Okay. I do need to tweak them though, because I think they're a bit random. Like, I feel like they need to be a bit more intentional. Okay, I guess if I was going to play properly, I wouldn't have given myself $1,000. Okay, what we can do is we'll just spam the reroll, drain all of our cash, and we'll go from there. Okay, that's close enough. Well, I'll take that. And I think I earned $16, so I will run the clock down next time. Okay, so got a few blues going on here. Oh, and there's the achievements. Again, work in progress, ignore that. But we should be able to get a good clump of blues here that will get us across the line, maybe? We'll see. Yeah, let's go. This is another thing. I need to figure out how many pieces are in by default, because I feel like 30 is probably not quite enough, but I kind of like the fact that you don't by default have enough to make a 32 match. Like, that is kind of an appealing thing to me. Like, you have to manipulate your deck in order to be able to, or like do something exciting to be able to use that slot. So yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, I need to run this down again. I feel like now we've accounted for that free $1,000 that I started with. So let us... We kind of want to unlock some of these, so I might just hold my money. I don't have an interest thing in, like, Balatro. Like, I don't want to directly rip Balatro too much, like any more than I already have. But some of it's just so good that it's like, can I just yoinky that? It'd be interesting, I think, if the direction traveled was adjacent but random, and if the walk didn't grab a tile when it went past, then that tile is skipped. Doesn't count to the total. It'd be interesting if the direction traveled. Sorry, I'm having a hard time figuring out what you mean by that. Are you talking about like when I'm making the match and it like goes through each piece one by one? So you could have like a thing that doesn't match all the pieces in your match or something? Oh, I see. I see what you mean. So it has to be able to like traverse. So it'd be like you can only do like a depth first search, and as soon as it hits the bottom of that, that's the path that you go on. That could be kind of fun. I think that would probably be a different game for what I'm going for, but I could definitely like that does sound fun to play around with. So like here, for example, it wouldn't be able to get this one because it was like walking across this way. So that one would be left out. I mean, there is scope for having like a cartridge or something that would change how uh how matches are made, or like a an enhancement or an obstacle or something that influences how the group of matches is determined for sure. That's uh, I'm not sure I'll do exactly that, but something like that could be kind of interesting. Even like a piece that has like a 50% chance of being matched, but if it is matched, then you get like a times 2 bonus or something. Or like, it's got a 25% chance of getting matched, and if it does match, then it gives you times 2 or something like that. That could be kind of fun. Turtle bomb. I like it. Okay, we're going orange here. Should be able to do it. The one thing is this thing, I need to activate it in order for it to go up. So it's plus 28, but when I'm just clicking ones, it doesn't go up. So I need to be cognizant of that. I also need to make sure that I'm beating these levels fast enough to get money. Oh, thanks, Blue. That's very kind. I've definitely been putting in a few hours on working on this game. It's definitely I was just before I went live, I was rewatching my last live stream, which I said at the start is 3 months ago. It's a bit slack on my part, but yeah, it's come a long way since that video in the last 3 months, and I haven't been working on it that much. It's like been very sporadic in the last 3 months. In fact, I had where's my commit history? Look at how patchy this is. Like I've been going hard in the last week or so, but before that, look at that. Like October, there's like what's that? Like 6 commits. November was a bit better. August was alright. September was alright. And like December's been good. But yeah, it's a bit lean in these parts in here. So oh well. But yeah, I'm really happy with how it's coming along. I think before too long I will get that Steam page up and then hopefully get some playtesting going as well so that you guys can get your hands on it and hopefully have some good ideas or just feedback in general is always very welcome. Um, yeah, so we have now got this UI needs a lot of work. It's crazy, like how much goes into making a game. It's like every little detail needs to be ironed out. So I need to fix all this. I also think like some little environmental things would be kind of fun. Like, I don't know, it's a bit lifeless at the moment, this desk, so I think having little things animate on it, or like when you mouse over them they move or whatever. Just little polishing things like that, but obviously that's down the line. Things like this need to come first where the UI is completely broken. Where was it? $17. This is 10 to unlock. Do that. Still got enough for that. Huge. That could be a bit of a bastard, but we'll just see how we go. That is a good match, like straight off the rip. Okay, okay. Got some oranges going here. So we should maybe try and get them in a match. How long is that going to be? 14. Now, our score one, way less impactful than this early, because that'll already get up to 28. Yeah. Okay. A little bit of that. I think we'll get through this. I'm not sure if 20 moves is too many. I know I'm jumping all over the place with things that I'm thinking about, but so with the hand size, like the number of each piece that you start off with being 30, you very quickly run out of pieces in the grid. So I think it needs to be like maybe 40, but then you are able to make 32 matches straight off the straight out of the gate, as they say. So as another idea for you, maybe if there was something on the grid that interacts with the power-ups, like a battery or something to recharge your plays. I have got written down the idea of something that can, like, you know, give you more moves and stuff. I haven't implemented that yet, but I do think, yeah, something that can, like, there's a few mechanics that need to be added that then can be interacted with. And one of them actually is like, I can't remove obstacles at the moment. You can only set obstacles. So having something that could generate removal tokens or something, I don't know if it should be a separate currency or how that will work. Even like you know what would be kind of fun is like an obstacle that can move. if there's an obstacle that like moves randomly around the grid and it just eats whatever obstacle it lands on top of or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, something that recharges. Yeah, there's something there for sure. Now, I think I want to do that. We should get close. Will it be close enough? I have got here. I will put in. I think this run is not going anywhere, so I'll put in. I have got, what is it called? What did I call it? Oh, I think it's called Chaos at the moment. Yeah, but I've translated it to Virus, which does. I will show you what it does. But yeah, something like Worm or Glitch or something could work for that for sure. Definitely, those are good names. So we'll start a new one. So yeah, basically, if I match like over here, the virus spreads. Now, why did it not spread that time? Clearly there's something. Oh, you know what it'll be, is it'll have chosen like here to spread from, and then chosen. I'll have to look into that. But then if you match next to it, it destroys the virus, and then it doesn't spread on that turn. So it should only spread. So yeah, I think I'm just getting lucky sometimes where it's choosing ones that are already spread to, but I don't think I want that. Maybe that'll be the last thing we do before I finish up, because it's 9 o'clock now, so I might need to get ready for bed before too long, because I go to bed nice and early. So let us have a look at the virus, which is called Chaos internally. Because again, that was its generic name before the move away from match 3 to collapse games. Oh no, it was originally called Slime as well before that. Maybe have a red glow over the tile it did spread to, and call it a feature that there is a luck factor that it won't spread further than it already has. I think I would rather it be more aggressive, so that if you have any virus on your grid, you really want to get rid of it to make sure it doesn't spread. I've also wondered if you have two different chunks of virus, should each chunk spread? Because at the moment it's just like a global thing where only one virus will spread each move, but I could do it as a chunk based thing as well, whereas like if you got two different separate bits of it, they will both spread, because then as well, that means it would be more aggressive early on, because if you've got like, say you've got 4 different spots in the grid with the virus, if they grew into each other, then you've only got 2 clumps, and then if they grow into each other, so like the number of chunks goes down over time as you run out of spaces to make matches. But huh. I've already got some stuff in here that's meant to prevent this. Because what I'm doing is I get all the slime locations, and then while we've got slime locations, I basically pop that slime location off the list and then try each direction. Hang on. Where's does? Oh yeah, here. Up, down, left, right. I try each direction. I think we're just gonna have to breakpoint it again, I'm afraid. Let's try putting in a breakpoint, and I guess we want it here. Okay. So if we go here, so it didn't break then. Okay. Definitely should have. Okay, we'll just have to try again. Okay, but we don't know if it's gonna exit early or not. So we'll find out. So slime added is false. Good. Oh yeah, it has to be. Okay, so slime added is false. Good. So then we get a random slime location. And let's just make sure that 6-4 got removed, yes. And so then what do our directions look like? Got right, up, left, down. So that's been shuffled. Good. And we go through and we get... Ah, something's going wrong. Something's going very wrong. Hopefully there will be... No, of course there's not a log message. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So where were we? Here. And it was in get obstacle. Why is that? Oh! That would be usually potentially part of the problem. Mayhaps. Surely it shouldn't have worked at all then, though. Oh no, but when it is null... Oh, so it was crashing... It was crashing when it ran into another obstacle. Okay. That kind of makes more sense. So it should... Here, let's just run this. It should always spread now. Problem is, it's very hard to prove a... Was it proving a negative? I don't know. But, like, you can't know that it won't crash. It just isn't crashing yet. Which is good. Yeah, it's spreading. And then if we match next to it, it removes and it shouldn't spread. Good. And it spreads. I mean, the other thing I could do is scale the number of times it adds based on how many pieces, like how many of them there are. So whether that's inversely proportional or proportional to how many there are. Something to think about. But yeah, there we go. So that's fixed then, so that's good. But the problem is, they're still there. That's okay. I think they're not actually too difficult to clean up if you get on top of them. But they kind of derail, like you've then got competing priorities of like organizing your pieces in the grid to make a good match versus making sure you always match next to the slime. Not the slime. There's so many names for this thing in the code. So there's chaos, there's slime, and then there's virus in the actual... It's actually presents itself as virus in the game. Carnage. Absolute carnage. But yeah, so you can see it's not too difficult to clean it all up, but you do kind of have to keep on top of it. So like here. Yeah. There we go. We got rid of it. Okay, so I think I will probably leave it there for tonight. Get all this committed. It's been good. We added a cartridge and an obstacle and fixed another obstacle, so that's fun. That's good. Thank you for hanging out. It's been good to chat with you. It's been a long time since I've done one of these, so it's good to get back on the horse. I've kind of been like putting it off a bit because I don't know. It is definitely nice sometimes to just be able to sit at your computer and just bang out some code without anyone watching. But also at the same time, it's fun to like get ideas with you guys and just hang out. And yeah, so it's been good. It's been good. But I have been sort of in gremlin mode and just banging out code, which has been fun as well. But yeah, so thanks for hanging out. I will obviously post in the Discord as soon as I've got the Steam page up, which means you'll be able to wishlist, but more importantly, you'll be able to join a playtest and get your little mitts on this game and try it out and hopefully find a bunch of bugs before things go live. I mean, it's a long way off release, but you know, find bugs, find cool ideas or problems or whatever, just general feedback. All right, I think that does it. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. And I will hopefully do another one before too long, although I am about to go on a trip away for 2 weeks and then it'll be New Year's period, so it'll probably honestly be January before I do another stream, unless I've got a bit of time later in this week, so I can maybe I'll do another one on like Friday, or yeah, maybe on Friday. We'll see. No promises, but fingers crossed. So yeah, I'll either see you then or I'll see you in the new year. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll let you know as soon as the Steam page is up. And now I got to remember how to turn off the stream as usual. Never remember. I've got no comment for you, Blue, as regards to the status of using Maven or not. And on that note, goodbye.